Are live. We are live at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Your timing is right. We are live at 2 o'clock with S Define. And we are so glad to be here today with you guys. We really are going to try this new time. Most of you have said that the new time would actually work better for you than at 5 o'clock. I wish you would have told us that a lot sooner and we would have switched a lot sooner. But I'm so glad you're with me. We're going to get started. This is a new month. Can you believe that it's May? We're literally 1 month away from being mid-year. And that blows my mind because it seems like it was just yesterday that I was taking down Christmas decoration. But nonetheless, we are here this month. I want to talk about one question, and it is going to cause you to engage with me. I want to know, how are you? And that's what we're going to talk about this month, just answering that question, how are you? And we're going to center it around May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I just want to talk about that. I think that especially in so many of our Black and brown communities, we tend to act like it doesn't exist, fail to acknowledge it, which means that we fail to get the necessary help that we need. And that's not something that we want to do. Mental health is not something that should be shameful. It's not something that should cause embarrassment to you. It's not something that should make you feel like you are different or anything. We all, I mean, every one of us deal with some type of mental health on some level or another. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And I hope that this month, just by me asking the question, how are you? I hope that it gives you the empowerment, it gives you the courage to just answer that question. For those of you that often watch but don't ever engage in our communications, it's okay, but I really want you to just be able to answer that question truthfully within yourself. I really believe that that is vitally important for you to come up with the right answer. If somebody says, how are you? Then I need for you to know exactly how you are as it relates to every aspect of your life. We're going to spend some time this month talking about self-care and what that looks like, because, you know, what saddens me the most is when you see people, women with their hourglass figures, they're dressed to the T, made up, hair straight, but their mind is jacked up. And it's not just women, it's men too. When they are dressed to the T and they're dealing with so many mental issues, they're dealing with emotional issues that disallows them to live a happy, productive life or lifestyle. So I really want us to delve into that this month. I want you to talk about that with me as much as you feel comfortable talking about it. But again, for those of you that do not type in or write in or chime in on our communications, just answer it within yourself, and it's totally cool. I appreciate you guys being here. Denise and Catherine, thank y'all for being a part of this new time. I thank you so much. So let's get into it. How are you? I want you to ask that question to yourself. If you have a mirror around you, I literally want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to ask that question to yourself. Look at you and say, how are you? How are you today? And I don't want you to think about physical. You know, I feel like that I do pretty good. I exercise about 6 days a week. And I try my best to stay physically fit. But that's not all of the exercising that I do. I try so hard to make sure that I'm mental, and emotional, and spiritually fit. And there are key things that I do. I meditate often. I take walks. I try to get out in nature every day. I will get out in nature more now that it's warming up. I don't like cold weather, but you know, there are just things that I do that changes my mood, changes my attitude. And I think that that is so important. I don't want to just be physically fit and be decent on the outside, I need to work and be just as healthy inside. And that is stemmed and centered around your emotions and your mental health. That is vitally important. And just a couple of statistics, mental health issues as a result of the pandemic increased by about 300%. And that's not just in every genre of people, it is particularly in the Black and Brown communities. There was a spike in mental health issues, and it stemmed from not taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally. The pandemic made you spend time with you. And if you have a problem spending time with you, then that creates mental issues. It's no different you being put in the room with somebody that you really don't vibe well with, or you really don't like. And, you sit and you're quiet and you're in that room with that other person that you really don't like. And you're like, what do I have in common with this person? I don't have anything in common. Why am I in here? I guess it's going to be a while before I talk to anybody because I'm not talking to him or her. That same mindset applies if you are not happy with you. If you don't like you, you sit with yourself. The only difference between you and that other person is you will never be able to escape you. So we have to find out what it is that causes us to have some issues with ourselves that create a lot of the mental health disparities that we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, especially in our Black and Brown community. So I did some research and talked about, I guess, self-care and how important self-care is. We do so much for other people. I am a giver. By nature, I'm a giver. I'm a giver. I'm a giver. And I'm always available to everybody else. But I've learned myself to the point to where I know how to put a cap on what I give. And I'm talking about advice, money. I'm talking about encouragement, empowerment. I'm talking about conversation. All of this, I've learned myself to where I know that my tank has become emptied and I need to pour back into some things. So there, like I told you, for me, a lot of times I find it healthy to work out. And that's not just working out my muscles, but it's about my mental health and stuff. I listen to a lot of positive YouTube videos that will keep me empowered and encouraged. I read a whole lot. I read to make sure that what I'm reading speaks to the depths of who I am. And I'm not trying to fit in with a whole lot of other things. I found me, and I realized that I have to sow into me. So not only that, but also I like to be silly. I like to dance. I like to put on some old school music and I just dance around just to get my energy level high, just to keep it up. There are so many of us who have roles or positions or titles that disallows us to show that side of us that likes to dance. Well, I am that person. I know who I can do it around, which is very, very few people, but the fact of the matter is I figured out what I need to do to stay healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. Catherine says, it has been a bit of a challenge for me to accept the fact that I've been dealing with depression and anxiety. I really felt embarrassed by this for a long time. I think to notice this during the pandemic. Okay, there's no reason to feel embarrassed for being anxious. There's no reason for feeling embarrassed for being depressed. What happens is you acknowledge it and don't label it as being embarrassed or feeling like you are outside of the norm. Acknowledge it and figure out what it takes for you to overcome it, because there is nothing that you cannot overcome. Benny says, I'm mentally, emotionally, and physically satisfied in the moment. As situations change around me, I attempt to be ahead of things that I may not like so that I can more easily calibrate back to that centered satisfaction mindset and momentum. And that is the key. Again, it all stems around you knowing yourself. You can't expect life to always be on that equilibrium. You can't expect life to always keep you in a place of being centered. What you can do is when life happens, when life comes at you, you have to understand that that's just a part of life. Whether you need to look at it as it being a chance for you to grow, as it being a chance for you to mature, as it being a chance for you to learn. There are a few challenges, very few challenges that we are not able to overcome. We have been equipped to handle everything that comes into our lives. That's just fact. We literally have been equipped to handle everything. You're choosing to handle it, and how you choose to handle it is totally up to you. Okay, so here, let's look at this real quick. I want to share with you something. It's talking about self-care. And according to this article, there is 7 areas of your life that you need to pay attention to as far as self-care is concerned. The top 2 are what we are talking about today and going to spend more time talking about this week, and that's mental and emotional self-care. What do you do to support your mental and emotional self-care? I'm asking you that question because I want to know. Kathy Davis, hey Kathy, she says, I'm giving naturally and feel so guilty now that I'm learning my limits to say no. I feel like I can do it, so saying no is just hard for me. How do I gain peace with that? Let me tell you, now you are preaching to the choir, because I have learned. I tell you this. So for just this past week alone, I had 2 people to call me and ask me for an astronomical amount of money. And I'm not talking about family. I'm talking about just people. And I say no. I remember a time I really would have been over backwards. Like I would have taken on their energy. I would have taken on their problem. I would have literally tried to figure out how I could make it work. At the time, I could not do it. But then I realized that just because they ask don't mean I have to say yes. You know? So Kathy, that's going to take some opportunity. That's going to take some time, for you to learn how to say no. I read something some time ago, Kathy, that said, as a giver, you should know your limits, because for takers, they will never know. So you're going to have to know your limits so that the takers won't take advantage of you. And that's something that was very, very hard for me to do, but I'm learning. I remember listening to Oprah talk about how she always felt the obligation to say yes. And Stevie Wonder, called her, wanted her to donate to some cause for children and all of this stuff. And she said that Stevie Wonder was the first person that she ever said no to. And she was like, yeah, I started big. Like, this is Stevie Wonder. First of all, he's calling me. And she was like, no, I have my own charities. I have my own things that I want to help and support. No, I can't do it. And she said the moment that she did that, there was such a liberating feeling, because she knew if she could do it to Stevie Wonder, she could actually do it to anybody. So I encourage you, Kathy, start big. Somebody that like it has become now just as easy for me to say yes or no as it is for me to say yes. And I'm loving it. I am literally loving it. I cannot take on everybody's responsibility like that. I cannot take on everybody's issue. And I don't want you to either. So practice saying no. Denise says, I focus on me by keeping my mental and spirituality in check. Absolutely. Saying no is definitely a growth process, but it is liberating once you get there. Absolutely. And I think that you should practice, Kathy. Just start saying no. And just sit back and watch and see how it makes you feel. There is a liberating feeling in the word no, especially when you help somebody on a regular basis. Now it becomes a dependency. So you have to break that dependency. And the only way that you can break that dependency is by saying no. So let me hear, what are some of your ways? Because I think if you can express some of your ways on how you keep your mental and emotional health and well-being in check, it will help somebody else. It, at the very least, will give them some ideas. I told you I like to work out, so I work out 6 days a week. I'm a shopper, so when I really feel like I need some therapy, air quotes, I go shopping. And it ain't nothing extravagant that I have to buy. I just do something for me. And also, I buy for other people if, I just like if I'm in that place where I don't see anything for me, but I just have the need to get, I do that. And that's what works for me. I like to listen to happy music, like old school happy music, Earth, Wind and Fire type stuff, Kool and the Gang, just stuff that makes you dance and just really talk about the good things. And I listen to that. That's what I do for, my mental and emotional well-being. What are some of the things that you guys do for your mental and emotional well-being? I would love to know. Denise says, I listen to music and clean. Come on over to my place. Come on over here, and you can clean too, Denise. Yeah, we can work something out. Kathy says, I take me time, quiet time, ride to Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach, sit on my patio, and just be quiet. And Kathy, that is the key. That is the key. Quiet time. If you can spend some quiet and alone time, and it helps center you and pull you back together, that is the key. To me, that is the most important and effective element to maintaining mental and emotional health. When you love yourself enough to be with yourself and you find pleasure in that. Benny says, I just finished 39 shows. I am unapologetically doing nothing for the next 4 days. Good for you, Benny. Congratulations on the shows. Listening to this podcast is the most strenuous thing I give you. Don't you break into a sweat listening, Benny. Denise says, also I talk encouragement to those positive affirmations, they are amazing. I've got them on sticky notes all over the house, everywhere. I put them in my phone. If I'm away and I'm having a bad day or whatever, I literally look at my phone and just sort of kind of center myself. I do. So it is so powerful. Loving yourself and getting to know yourself is the most powerful thing that you could ever do. Talk about feeling empowered. Talk about an increase in confidence. Talk about self-love. When you get to know yourself and be honest with yourself, you talk about those things that challenge you. You talk about those things that are your strengths. When you literally get to know yourself, that is so empowering. And I encourage you guys to do that. Our mantra here is define yourself so that no one else has the opportunity to do that. So I encourage you, define who you are. Find out what makes you tick. Find out what keeps you uplifted, keeps your energy level high. Know that. Know yourself, because once you know yourself, there is no such thing as triggers. People will try to put, but you have to take a deep breath, you walk away, you find yourself in a place where you are able to just regain that composure, find that balance, and find yourself centered. So I want you to think about that over the next couple of weeks. We'll have it up so it will remind you what we're talking about this month. And the question is, how are you? And I want you to be honest with yourself. I really want you to be honest with that question. How are you? Find yourself a couple of times a day, 2 or 3 times a day, just standing in the mirror and asking yourself the question, how are you today? How are you at this very, very minute? We're not going to worry about anything. There's something that I heard that blew my mind. I'm going to share it with you guys, and then I'm going to be finishing up. But it says this: stop thinking about your dead past and your unborn future. Learn how to appreciate your now. What's done in the past is done. It's dead. What happens in the future has yet to be born. The only thing that you have now in reality is your present moment. Learn how to appreciate those times your now. Learn how to appreciate the present. Benny says another thing is for him is pulling away and meditating. And that's an awesome thing too. I do a lot of that. I take a lot of walks out in the yard, grounding. Put your feet on some dirt. Walk around in your yard. Go step on something. Go literally hug a tree. I promise you, you may think people are looking at you like crazy, but the effect that it has on you is mind-blowing. I promise you, it is mind-blowing. Put that in the chat, guys. They're asking that we put in the chat. The title of our series this month is How Are You? Find out how you are doing. And we're going to center that question particularly around mental and emotional health, but we're going to tap into other things too: physical health, recreational health, spiritual health, and some other things. There are like 7 different areas of your life that we're going to tap into over the next few weeks. Okay. Next Sunday is Mother's Day. We're going to just post something. I don't know. We're going to determine whether or not we're going to be on. I don't think we are taking my sisters out for Mother's Day. I'm not sure we'll get finished and back by 2 o'clock, but we'll let you know for sure. Kathy Davis says, yes, my son hugs a tree every day before he enters his home from work and releases. I'm telling you, it works. If you put your feet in some grass and feel the energy of the earth permeating your body, it blows your mind. Just try it. That's all I can say is try. If you're having some little aches and some little pains in your back and your legs, just go take your shoes off and stand in your yard or go hug a tree. And the energy that goes to your body, it is healing energy. I promise you, try it. Try it. And forget about what anybody may think or say if they see you. I just want you to try it and watch. This is our first step into mental and emotional healing. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of things that are unorthodox to most people to have the biggest impact. So look, don't forget, we're going to let you know whether or not we're going to be on next Sunday. Chances are we're not, but we will definitely let you know for sure earlier in the week. And also don't forget, tell somebody about the new time that we are. It's 2 o'clock now, and I see our numbers are a little low, but it's okay because some people may not have gotten it. It's all good. We're going to grow it back, and people that couldn't get on before when we were doing it at 5 are not going to be able. I am looking for this to truly blow up. And trust me, if you like and share these videos, you can also see them on YouTube. If you like and share these videos, I promise you there's somebody who will thank you for it, because if it blesses you, it's going to bless somebody else. If it helps you, it's going to help somebody else. You guys go out, enjoy the day, go hug a tree, go step on some grass. Talk to you guys next week. Have a phenomenal rest of the day, a phenomenal week on purpose. Talk to y'all later. Bye.